What's up, y'all? It's your boy Sean P back again with another edition of Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. Tonight, I'm joined by my esteemed guest once again, Funeral Man from Torture Chamber, Torture Talk. What's good,
It's
Reese?
good. It's good.
We're hoping to have Lance from or Anson from BLG, aka uh, what was his podcast again? I gotta get it because it's a specific cast that he has. Yeah, BLG, aka Bootleg Gang. He's gonna be coming on too a little bit later. But we're gonna get started because we got quite a bit to talk about tonight, Reese. We're talking about a culture war that's going on, and just I want to set the table. I saw this online, and I'm seeing this more and more in the hip hop rooms. You know, the hip hop debate rooms that we've been on for years. You know, and even in my group, I've seen it. That a lot of the Southern hip hop fans don't seem to respect the East Coast like they used to. Like Jay doesn't get the respect, Nas doesn't get the respect like they do. I'd even say Biggie. A lot of the East Coast legends didn't get the respect, and they come with wild statements like "Get Rich or Die Trying" is trash, or "Illmatic" is trash, and shit like that. And I'm like, where is this coming from? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I dug like a little bit deeper and found out, you know, that a lot of these hip hop fans that are making these comments are coming from one region. They're coming from the Atlanta region of the country, the southeastern corridor, if you will. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it really got me thinking to the point: is there really a regional bias out there? And is there an underlying culture war now going on between East Coast and down South hip hop fans? And is it good for the culture? Is it starting to bias fans that may not be as educated or younger hip hop fans towards East Coast music? You know what I mean? And does it work the other way? Are East Coast fans being biased towards Southern hip hop? You know what I mean? So it got me just thinking about this, and really, where are we in hip hop right now? And is it promoting the culture, moving it forward, or holding it back? I don't know what your initial thoughts are on that, but that's what we talk about tonight.
Well, okay, so Atlanta is the Mecca part 2 of hip hop.
That's
At
true.
least that's what they consider themselves. I think it's California, but it's more of them, they say.
Yeah.
For I think this is more of a backlash, and I kind of blame the East Coast for this, to be honest with you.
Interesting.
I think down south they got shitted on because the East Coast was so lyrical and we dominated lyrics back in the day. Like we was those guys. Even like I know he's a little bit newer, but when Big Crit came along, people was getting on because he was on board with lyricism. You know what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of Southern rappers didn't really care too much about technical lyrics. It was more about the feel and the vibe of the song. But Big Crit, he kind of took it to that level back in 2001, 2000, before 2000. He started rapping lyrical, and he started being a little more lyrical than a bunch of other people. Now, there's other people that was being lyrical, but he stood out because he made it about that. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of Southern artists or Southern rappers kind of don't really like the East Coast too much because I'll be honest with you, we thought we were better than them when it comes to rapping.
So I didn't think it's a competition thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was more like, oh, you guys can't rap. Y'all sound like dummies. Y'all can't really rap. Y'all sound like Cat in the Hat type rap. You know what I'm saying? Us over here, we super lyrical. We had all the lyricists: Nas, Jay, Cannabis, Biggie, Pac. You know, not Pac, but what's the name? We had all the lyricists. You know what I'm saying?
All the bars were over here.
Wu-Tang, everybody, we was built on lyrics. So we didn't respect all of them down there. But then when they started getting Wayne and Big Crit, Andre 3000,
T.I.
T.I., then they started being lyrical. And the thing about it is, I'll be honest with you, this is how I feel. Outside of the legends, they started making better music than the East Coast, lyrically, with lyrics.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So some of the songs start to
Called the
stand out
Beats
with the beats.
production.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Production. I think that they learned how to make hooks better. They learned how to cadence. They learned everything. And with East Coast,
Mhm.
we were so stuck in just rapping raw that we kind of we fell to the back burner. You know what I'm saying? Now you had your Biggies and you had your Jay and Nas's, and even with Nas, he really didn't do a lot of hooks. He was just super good. You know what I'm saying? But outside of them, I'll be honest with you, like who was really making really good music? Wait, maybe Busta Rhymes, but like that was really
I
like,
mean,
you know what I'm
Nipsey X
saying?
was on for a minute.
Who's that?
DMX,
Oh, DMX, yeah.
50. I mean, they had their run. But see, I'm glad you went there with stylistically the lyrics and the hooks or what have you, because that's kind of my first like piece of this argument. Like, do you think that down south fans respect traditional East Coast hip hop styles, like the lyrical styles, lyrical storytelling, street content, you know, bars, if you will? Do you think down south hip hop fans respect that style as being the go-to style for hip hop, or do you think that southern hip hop fans kind of on purpose went away from that because they didn't want to be part of the East Coast movement? Like what do you think about that?
Um, I do believe that they wanted to be, I think the South wanted to be lyrical, but they wanted to do it in their way. And I think they
Okay.
kind of moved away from, like, because the East Coast back then was more gangster lyrical rap. West Coast was gangster rap. East Coast was gangster lyrical rap at a certain point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or just that I think the I think the South was more like they wanted to be lyrical, but they didn't want to be gangster and they didn't want to be street for some of them, not all of them. But then you got your TIs, and then you got what's the name? You got your Waynes, but Wayne was, I think Wayne is the one that actually really stands out the most when it comes to that argument, because he really took the metaphors and the similes to another level,
That's true.
dropping a bunch of mixtapes, stuff like that. So that's
Yeah.
what I think as far as that. So I think they took it to a different level, I would say. You know what I'm saying? They tried to. But you know the crazy thing is,
Yeah.
it's crazy how it comes around. Lil Wayne and Andre 3000 are probably one of the considered some of the greatest lyricists of all time. Especially Andre 3000. He's in like people's top 5 of best
Yeah.
lyricists. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy how that came around, because before it wasn't never like that. It was dominated by the East Coast. So that's what I would say with that.
I mean, I'm on the fence about this because I mean, I don't know the ear of down south fans like that, but I think they respect the lyrics, but I think down south hip hop fans respect vibe more. You know what I mean? A vibe, a feeling. You know, I mean, to me, I think in my opinion, the greatest down south rapper, most consistent was Scarface. And he was a lyrical storyteller where you felt the emotion through his bars. You know what I mean? But I don't think the modern day Southern fan respects him like Wayne. I think Wayne was the first one to really put the whole package together,
Hmm.
to come with the vibe and the lyrics. And then when Wayne went to the auto tune and started really, going to the hook game crazy, is when I think down south hip hop really went to another level. I think they realized, okay, we got our guy that can compete against Jay-Z, our guy that can compete against Nas or a 50, 2002 to 2005. You know what I mean? Like, we got our guy now. Now we untouchable. I think Wayne was the game changer with that because he put it together. But post Wayne, down south hip hop is more about listening to beats and listening to hooks in the end of the day. Like, and see, this is what I always say. Like, why is, if you go down to Atlanta, Future is going to be mentioned as a GOAT. Now we up here like Future, like what the fuck? Like, how is that possible? But if you go down to Atlanta and you say, oh, Future is trash, they'll damn near kill you. Because they'll be like, yo, he is our anthem for parties, for the club, for the strip club, whatever. Like, he makes those anthems, those bangers. And with that, it's almost like, well, if you're going to put Future in the GOAT conversation, is that really respecting lyrics? You know what I mean? And it's like, the more and more you get away from the Lil Wayne era, the end of the 2000s, it seems like Southern hip hop fans don't respect the East Coast sound, not because it takes a lot of talent to put those bars together, but just because it's like, oh, we like our vibe and our sound better, and because we say it is, it's better than yours. So fuck them lyrics. You know what I mean? It's almost over time that narrative's changing.
I definitely think that it's gonna sound kind of crazy,
Yeah.
but I definitely think that the East Coast, the South never really took from the East Coast, because lyrics is lyrics. I want people to understand this.
Yeah.
Just because a city raps lyrical doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it means something, but it doesn't mean anything for this argument. But as far as what's the name goes, as far as taking somebody's sound, I definitely think the East Coast took the South sound 100%.
Oh, you think now?
Yeah, now I'm saying now, not back in the day. I'm saying now. I don't think that the South ever took the East Coast sound ever. You know what I'm saying? I think the South was always been the South. Maybe they got a little more lyrical, but they never took the East Coast sound. You know, I know some people would say Wayne, but he's one person. Outside of that, I think the South always been the South. They just added.
You know what I think, and I'll co-sign this. I think that the East Coast, I'll take it to the fans later, but I think the East Coast likes the Southern sound, the modern Southern sound more, because the culture is more about the clubs and the strip clubs now. Like, that's what more culture is about. It's about partying and all that. Like, I think over the years, people didn't want to really hear the street stories and lyrical bars and I'm better than you and all of that, because it's almost like now, and I hate this term called rapidy rap, it's almost like they use rapidy rap as like a derogatory term now, when it's like, yo, that's real skill. It takes more skill to make a quote rapidy rap song than make a song that Future makes, or Playboy Carti, or some of them Atlanta rappers now. But it's like the East Coast rappers now, they more want to go more to that vibe. And how that changed on East Coast, I don't know. But it's like one day it's just rappers from New York. And I kind of, in the 2010s, I kind of blame like French Montana for this. Like, for whatever reason, a lot of New Yorkers looked at French Montana as a big like type of influence at that time. And he went to the big 808 sounds, was doing all of the features with Rick Ross and Drake, and he was on all of those records. And it's like, from that, the East Coast rappers started adopting that sound. Um, Another one that was kind of a mix was ASAP Rocky, doing that kind of down south, like kind of what's the name, chopped and screwed type of sound, because he adopted like more of a Houston flair for it. So it's
Mhm.
like, I don't know why the East Coast went that way, and they didn't just stick to spitting bars. You know what I mean? I don't know what happened.
I think they looked at it from the point of view of what's making money, what's actually selling right now, because
Started
believe
paving
it or
their
not,
instead of paving their own way.
exactly. But believe it or not, rapidy rap, all the rapidy rap dudes still run rap. They
Yeah,
still the hottest selling. Like,
that's true.
so they still the ones that run rap. If you all the ones that's rapidy rap, you even gotta throw your boy in there, because when he raps, he raps. So those are rapidy rap dudes. You know what I mean? Jay, Nas, Kendrick, all of them, they rapidy rap. Eminem,
Eminem's still
J.
selling,
Cole.
and he's mid-50s.
Yeah. So the rapidy rap is still there. I think that people, they got so caught up in that sound, and it was like the South, that Future and that sound, man. That what they call it? The lean sound. It went from selling drugs to
Yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah. Turn
drugs.
up, trap. I mean,
Turn up track. They went from selling drugs to doing drugs. They
you,
the
you
couple.
know what's crazy is I'm gonna tell you who kind of the main culprit was on the East Coast side. I think it was 50 Cent, believe it or not. And I'm gonna talk about 50 later in a different way, because I'm gonna talk about 50 as he was kind of the reason why we do respect the South now. But I think 50, when they saw 50 was selling those kind of records, they were like, okay, that's the blueprint we got to take. We got to make records for the radio, and we got to center our song around the hook. The
Mhm.
lyrics really are like the filler, but the hook is the one that gets them. And you got
Yeah.
to have the banging beats. I mean,
Mhm.
50 obviously had Dre, who was West Coast, but when they saw the songs like Wankster, and they saw the maybe it's more, I think East Coast fans made it the song more about quotables and the hook than really the lyrics, the three verses. Because before it was about the three verses and what you were saying. After 50, I think it became more about the hook. And when that became like popular, and believe it or not, I think 50 used that, and the South actually blew up off of that. Because 50, you got to understand how dominant 50 was in the early 2000s, man. He made a gangster rap record diamond. That's unheard of. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? He's talking about shooting people in the face, and it sells 10 million records. When you're doing stuff like that, everybody's going to take notes and copy your style because they want to make money too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely think 50 had a huge influence on the South. And here's the crazy thing is, a lot of people don't want to admit this, but 50 was a New York nigga who sounded like he was from the South,
Down
though.
south, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So who really had the influence? Was it the South on 50, or was it 50 on the South?
I got to get
You
to
know
that.
what I'm
We're going to talk about that later, because I think it was a vice versa, but he was definitely a turning point in the
saying? Yeah.
2000s that changed